What's up? What's up? What is up? And welcome to the Dr. Ali Griffith Show, Mindset, Meditation, and Motivation. And today it's all about sisterhood. It's all about shining our brilliance together. It's all about taking three lights, igniting them, and using that light to ignite even more. And I'm super excited to bring to you my amazing, I don't even want to say clients. These are my sister friends. These are my sister girls. These are some amazing ladies out there shining bright in their world. And what I love about them is that they are shining bright individually, but they're also killing it together. And for many of you out there that have been wondering how to work with a fellow sister, right? How to work with a fellow friend, how to make it align. We're going to get a little clearer into where they came from, why they decided to do it together. This is all about launching your own brand. This is all about shining bright alone, but then collectively bringing your lights together and seeing how you could even shine brighter. So I'm going to start first and welcome, ladies. Tell us who you are as a person first, as just who is Crystal? Tell me a little bit about Crystal. What would you tell someone who just met you off the street and you want to impress them immediately so they can bring you on their show?
Wow.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah,
right. Right. How about I tell you who my sister is?
Oh man, no.
So
You are so cheating right now.
It's so easy to tell you who my sister is, and then let her tell you who I am.
listen, y'all. So let me give the real scoop then. I'm one of their executive coaches. These are boss ladies. And no, I'm not letting you get away with that. Absolutely not. Yes, sister. So here's what happened to us ladies, right? Spotlight gets on us, and we're like, wait, what do you mean talk about me? I don't like to talk about me. I mean, I know I'm boss. I know I'm incredible, but if I talk about myself, people are just gonna think I'm vain, or or there's something wrong with me, or I'm egotistic. Yeah, be egotistic. Brag about it. You did what you did. It's time that we shine bright, and you are sharing to that little girl out there who's scared to say the amazingness they've done and how it's okay to shine bright. So do me a favor. I'm going to take my little lighter and ignite you up and shine, sis, shine.
All right, I got you. So, hi everybody. I'm Crystal Khalil, co-CEO, and the other half of the Wonder Twin duo of Sister Diamonds LLC. And we specialize in cultivating Black women in leadership and love. And how we came together is just an amazing story. I, after serving in corporate America for over 30 years, rose from first generation college student to becoming the first African American executive for Porsche cars in the world. And after 20 years at Porsche, I decided to launch out on my own in an effort to help Black women, women succeed in business. I learned over the years, how difficult it is sometimes when you look and you don't see anybody that looks like you sitting at the seat in the seats of power, and how difficult it is for women and Black women to be able to voice themselves and shine in that environment. I learned over the years how to maneuver in those spaces, and it became a passion of mine as I opened doors to hold those doors open for those behind me. And so I launched out, and that was my vision. I was going to teach all the women how to get a seat at the table. And I was ready to start my business and do it on my own. And God had other plans. And this beautiful woman, my wonder twin, called me. And she said she'd learned that I had stepped out of corporate on my own, and she wanted to celebrate me. And we had breakfast. She invited me to her home and cooked me a beautiful breakfast. And 8 hours later, Sister Diamonds was born.
Wow.
And I knew coming out in 2020 I actually retired from my position January the 11th. And I knew that God had already told me that this 2020 was going to be a season of illumination. Didn't really know what that meant. But boy, was it a lot of light shining, a lot of illumination on a lot of different things, both positive and negative. And Dr. Nicole, it was a season of collectivism for her. And when we came together, it was when illumination and collectivism come together, it breeds brilliance. And that is the heart of Sister Diamonds, illumination and collectivism. So I'll let her introduce herself. So the light is now being shined on you.
Now it's Dr. Allie's hot seat. Go. Everybody,
Right.
on the beach, and I am the other half of the Wonder Twins. If you don't know much about the Wonder Twins, it was a cartoon that came on many years ago on Saturday morning, where they had Zan and Jaina, and when they put their fists together, it said Wonder Twin power, activate.
Activate.
Of
Mountain, shape up, and whatever they wanted to do when they brought their fists together, it manifested. And that really is a good symbolic stance on what Crystal and I are about, because individually, like Dr. Ali said, we've done some incredible things, but together it is pretty amazing. I was in the corporate arena as the director of training and organizational development for News Corporation and all of Rupert Murdoch's companies at the time under the News Corporation parent brand. Quite a few of them, to say the least. I used to be able to name them. I believe there were 38 companies at the time. I'm a little rusty on that now, because after being promoted in that space, which was quite the task, young African American female at what you all know as Fox, right? So God blessed me in that space. But after 9/11, many of our departments and many of our companies were sold and closed, and different things happened. And I decided to take a leap of faith and start my own business. Was very excited to find out that I was an entrepreneur. But when I started on that task, my feet were to the fire and my knees were buckling. But that was about 20 years ago, almost now. And as a result of that, I've worked very strongly in the area of executive coaching and organizational development and relationship coaching. And you may have seen me on television. If you have not, we don't know what you're doing. You're not watching Put a Ring on It?
Put a ring on it.
What's happening here? What?
exactly. Catch up.
Put a ring on it. I'm the lady that's the host. And if you're not, go to OWN Friday night, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and you will see me in that space, because it fits with our brand of cultivating Black women in the area of love and leadership. And we figure,
yes, love. We
right?
see you.
Right? We figure, there are a lot of things that'll make a Black woman happy, but when she's healthy in love and what that means to her, and when she's healthy in how she's moving as a leader, she's a pretty happy Black woman. So we want to give our energy to and bring our brilliance towards is serving our sisters in that way.
I love it. I love it. So now I'm going to get down to the nitty gritty.
Come on with it.
That was all the cute stuff. Tell me who you are. We got to make sure we do that part, because we always got to hit them with the high and then let them know, all right, y'all look all cute now, right? But I'm sitting down here and I'm wondering, okay, I've always wanted to do something with another sister, but I've always had these words and these thoughts of past relationships where it just wouldn't work, and all these negative things or the little things chatter that shows up. Before even starting, did you have that chatter inside your head in terms of, oh my gosh, I'm going to flying solo to now collaborating with someone else? I know you guys are amazing. You're on this side now, but let's go and talk to that young lady that wants to do it and is hearing the real deal. So what are some of the thoughts that you were concerned of with possibly working with someone else?
Some of my advisors and people that I love and that love me, that have had bad experiences in the past with partnerships and things, they say things like partnerships are sinking ships, right? So I've heard and you hear all those things, but I will tell you, when Dr. Nicole and I synced up, it was like magic. I can't even describe it as anything else than supernatural. From the very first meeting that we had, it was supernatural. We just met through a business, introduction, and we came together to, we had on our business suits and we had on the corporate mask, and, we're talking business. And before we knew it, the conversation transformed. I don't even know what was said. But we cleared the restaurant and we were the last ones there, and we were crying and we were loving each other, and we had connected on another level. And every single time since then that we meet, there's a definite supernatural connection. She's God-fearing, and I am as well. And it's just, what you know, and you know who you follow, and you know who you trust. And I've never experienced anything like it. It's very, you see, we both have on pink today. That wasn't even planned. We just like literally connect on a mental level. It's crazy.
Somebody sent me the pink memo.
Right. It just, we finish each other's sentences. It's crazy. But I will tell you that the magic behind our relationship, besides the fact that it's ordained, it's appointed, it's anointed, is both of us operate in our 3 pillars as Sister Diamonds: service, humility, and excellence.
Yes.
And we'd operated like that our entire careers. And when we came together, it was so refreshing to meet someone else that shared that philosophy and that level of integrity and morals. And we're very vulnerable with each other and very transparent with each other. There's days when it's like, I'm having a bad day, sis, or I'm feeling a little imposter syndrome today. And we talk each other up, and we listen, we hold space for one another. And we both were able to put down the ego of who we are individually.
That right
And say, I have this and you have that, but we could see the vision and the magic of what we could do together. And we were able to say, I could put my stuff aside and come together because I could see the possibility and I could see what God is doing. So the fact that we were able to put our egos down in humility for the greater good of service. And I don't know anybody who works as hard as me, but Dr. Nicole. And so the excellence that we bring to the table, we push each other, but we also hold each other accountable. And it's just, when we work, it's just magic. It really, really is.
So what would you tell that person, Dr. Nicole, who or the group of ladies who are thinking of getting involved with working with each other? What would you go back and tell them of 3 things of what they should do to know if to move on to the next step? What 3 things would you hit them with or let them know that?
I would say use the appropriate trust metric. I could see Crystal's worthiness for trust based on how she lived her life professionally and the things that we revealed to each other in hours of conversation that didn't have the mask on. So I could see how she worked through problems. I could see who her tribe was. I could see how she connected with friendship, what her values were. Was she an integrity girl, or was she a girl that chose preference over principle? So I didn't know that what I was looking for was, can I trust her? But the more I connected with her, I was checking off, okay, so I can see a worthiness of trust here. I can see a worthiness of trust here. I could see a worthiness of trust here. So it wasn't, I just like her, I just like her, I just like her, so I'm just going to trust her unless she gives me reason not to.
Mm-hmm.
I can absolutely speak to the things that I value and where I have examples or samples of things that she's done that made it clear to me, if I'm not in the room, she can represent me when I'm not there, and I can be asleep, right? Like I can be under a pillow, hugged up, sleeping sound, and knowing she gets me. She's not going to do anything that goes against our values. And where she feels she needs a boundary, she's going to say, let me talk to Nicole and get back to you. And those were the things that I was making a mental note so that I didn't have to protect myself. I really just had to be clear on what kind of relationship and who I was getting in relationship with. So I could be fully vulnerable and truthful and bring my full self to the table. So I would say, one thing is, are you bringing your full self? And are you seeing who you want to partner with? Or are you seeing who you want them to be? And that's who you're partnering with. Because I'm clear, I'm partnering with Crystal, right? I'm not partnering with who I want Crystal to be. I already know she's going to be much better than she is later, because I'm going to be much better than I am later. But I'm fully clear who I'm partnering with. So that's one thing I would say. The other thing I would say is, don't skip the steps. True relationship and collaboration can endure process. So when people would say, do you guys have an operating agreement? Yeah, check that box.
Yeah.
We were very clear that the same way the Holy Spirit can handle process, if he could handle process, we could handle process. So we didn't need to skip a whole lot of steps because, oh, I don't want her to think or, oh, I don't want her to think that we were just like, listen, this is what it is. And we went through the pantry. Like we took out stuff and we were like, okay, this is what I can do. This is what I can't do. This is what I'm good at. This is what I'm not so good at. And we knew that we had a very similar work ethic.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to skip the steps because we weren't an equity partnership. We could move in the steps because we recognize there's no perfection here. We're perfectly imperfect, but we are some badass sisters. And if we come together to help serve and walk with other sisters, there's nothing that they can't do. And the third thing I would say is, ask the Lord what.
The Wonder Twin power sign. She's throwing that up when you just said that.
Yeah. And I would say the third thing is, ask the Lord what you want to know. Come straight out. Now, Jesus, am I supposed to partner with this girl in business? Is this what you would have me do right now? I want to know definitively. I want to know. Straight, no chaser. I want to know. And what I found is when we ask and we seek and we're open to the answer, we will get an answer. Now, I couldn't be sure that it was the answer that I would have preferred, but I was open to the answer. And the answer was, this is what I have for you when you come together. And what we say is, when we focus on God, we hold tight to each other, we pray, praise, have thanksgiving, and bear witness. You should watch out.
Yes, Lord. Boom.
Yes, yes. I mean, it's not a coincidence that you are working with relationships.
Yeah.
Not a coincidence that when we sat together less than a year ago, before even deciding to work together, that your vision was, Sister Diamonds. Your vision was the International Slumber Party. It was She Brilliance. It was having live events and coaching women, and not knowing that you will be now stepping into this state of relationships, of helping women, single women with relationships and couples with relationships. But as a speech pathologist and just stepping outside of myself and doing communication and connection, your decision to work together and establishing and showing your uniqueness, individualness, and how you were able to combine and truly form a partnership. Like, this is what the same things that she's telling you guys are the same, some of the same principles that they'll get into when they're doing their relationship programs that will happen with women and men, or women and women, or men and men, or whoever you choose, but the relationships you get into. So tell us, based on that, now that you're together, well, tell me a little bit about what you're doing in terms of relationships, since that's a great segue for that.
Well, the watch party, if folks know about the show, our next event is the watch party that's happening on January the 8th, for Put a Ring on It. So you can definitely go to AskDrNicole.com and register for the watch party. It's a blast. We've got a DJ. Last time we had almost 800 people registered. It's the funnest thing in a virtual space to watch what's happening, come back and actually talk about it with Crystal and I, who are fully engaged in the crazy and the good and all of that stuff. So that's happening on the 8th. And then the next thing that is huge for us is the Heart of the Matter conversations. And that's happening on January 23rd for singles, and on February the 6th for couples, people that are in any type of couple relationship. And we're going to talk about the stuff that not enough people are talking about. What should you know that no one will tell you about this conversation of preparing for a solid relationship or being in one? What are some of the research say? What are some of the things that we won't talk about because we're afraid of unmasking someone else, or we're afraid of dishonoring someone with truth? How do we fully show up so that someone doesn't fall in love with our persona, which we can't keep up?
Right?
But we really want them to fall in love with us. But it's so tempting to show up as a persona when you don't know that the yummy love comes when you show up as just you. Those are some of the things we're going to talk about. And how do you know, when you're doing yourself a service, or how do you know when you've got adequate tools in your box? So we're really excited about that, for sure.
And I'm super excited because after a year of lockdown, after a year of truly being still, some relationships made it, some relationships didn't quite make it. One relationship that I hope that could have tightened during this time is that relationship with ourselves, because it definitely did for me. But it was definitely the time when I couldn't date as much. I couldn't go out as much because now everything is not as comfortable. And some of us are now getting back into the scene, kind of, depending on what's going to go on with the world. So I think this is such an ideal time, especially for you out there that are listening, to really be part of this Heart of the Matter conversation. So that, and I put the link in, I'm done right at this moment. I'm zooming out to my Facebook group, so I will show it out later. If you're catching this on the podcast, then you'll catch it at Ask Dr. Nicole site, and or bit.ly Heart of the Matters combos, right? But it'll be in the show notes. But just so that you know that now is the time, now is the best time to be part of how to strengthen relationships, because now it's almost like it's a new leaf. Like, we get to actually start over. It's almost like we figured out ourselves a little bit, or we may need to figure out some more things. And then how do we move forward for those that are single, and for those that are married, that how can we even create a stronger, a deeper engagement, deeper relationship? And where can I go to have conversations that are just real and authentic? And I love the fact that you said now is the time, even though we're masked, we're going to make sure that masks are being worn. So definitely we want to say safety first.
Yeah.
But really that external mask, that other mask that we've been living under so much. I mean, part of the reason why we gravitated towards each other so quickly in terms of being in service to each other, because I am one of the executive coaches, but you got ladies coach me every time I'm with you. And when I watch, of course, put a ring on it.